Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday special that we've got for you in store. Today, I'm joined by Helen Chorley and
Hi.
today Howard,
Morning.
who's in the background, camera off. As he's still recovering from his broken leg. So,
Incognito.
incognito. Today, we just have Jay in audio form, which is still 90% of the goodness.
Still impressive.
Still impressive. Yeah, still 3 degrees. Nothing's changed. So yeah, today we're missing Adam. Adam's got an event. He's attending, so he cannot join us today. But we'll have Helen, we'll have Jay, and we'll have myself, and we'll keep this brief today. Keep this to about 25 minutes. If you guys have any questions, anything you want to ask us, just drop them in the comments. And one of the things that we were thinking about chatting today is one of the big news that came up about the Asset Academy. I don't know if anyone heard much about it, but it's Asset Academy is like the recycled version of Tigrant and Legacy and whatever. They kept changing the names every couple of years, every few years. And I don't know the exact details, but I think they went bankrupt with like 30 millions in debt or something like that.
Wow.
What do you guys? Did you guys follow the exact story of it?
It's
To be
3
honest,
million owed
it
to
just, sorry,
it's
go on.
3 million.
Oh, free. Okay, I 10
I mean,
it.
30 sounds so much more, but three's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know much about the previous incarnations. I'm not
Mm,
really up with or down with all of the training people, apart from the really famous shysters that we tend to allude to on a regular basis. Uh,
we do.
but Martin Roberts' involvement is the only thing that I know because he's a former presenter of Homes Under the Hammer. So there's an auction kind of connection there. That's the only reason I
Yeah.
know that exists in any way, shape, or form. But
Yeah, it's. I think there's also been issues with one of the trainers taking money from students, and then like the project's not going to plan as they were.
Wow. Where have we heard that before? Oh, it's not.
Yeah,
It's not funny. I'm not laughing at the situation. It's just like, oh my god.
it's just laughing at the absurdity that the situation is allowed to perpetuate, no matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Repeat. Repeat. Repeat.
yeah. I feel like it's like again. I don't really follow all those things because I'm of the opinion that paying too much attention to those things is not healthy, because then it just it's kind of focusing on the bad
Wrong.
things that
Yeah.
the wrong
Yeah.
things that are being produced, and trying to avoid bad things is not really kind of the ideal thing. It's about doing the things in the right way, and like in terms of training and other things, like our things really focus on, like when we do any sort of training, like we like to focus on practicalities of the situation and like real life application, and we try to make sure that people who come to our trainings, they are kind of like ready to actually act on things. So like in the Auction Buyers Club, like uh, we ask people like what the plans are, and so we've got a bit of an interview process to make sure that whoever joins like is actually able to transact, is actually able to do deals, because we don't want to want just a marketing kind of uh, marketing educational type business, um, and we'd rather kind of train people to actually be able to do more business with everyone involved. So yeah, as I said, I don't really follow exact news, but all I'm kind of it was a big headline. And,
It amazes me. I don't know much about. I've heard exactly what, like you were saying, Jay, about the kind of many incarnations of these things. And there was something that happened with a US arm and all the changes of names, and then they brought in kind of various representatives, I guess, as a PR and branding thing, maybe to detract from what's gone on in the past with Tigrant, that I think didn't have a great name. Although I do know some people who did it a number of years ago and actually really appreciated that training as was then. It amazes me for somebody charging so much for training, though, that it can go bankrupt. And or whatever's happened, whatever the technicalities are, what it highlights to me is a very similar thing. I think it's entirely applicable to investing, is that actually running a business and doing the deal are very separate things. So clearly, in this case, like the price of the product was significant enough that somebody should have, and obviously they have done for a number of years, been able to make a profit from that product. But perhaps running the business hasn't, that side has let them down, or, you know, I don't know. I'm speculating that there could be entirely other reasons for this happening. But if you can't run the business and deliver on the project, the product in this case, then you've got nothing. And as an investor, where does that leave you? So you have to look at both aspects. It's so equally important.
It's I mean, £3 million is not an insubstantial amount of money for a, there are some property trainers that have come out in the past on YouTube or other interviews where they say, I'm turn over £1 million a year on my training or whatever. So £3 million is, and I don't think they were the biggest, or at least not the in your face, like, I can name 3 or 4 training people. I wouldn't have put them in, I wouldn't have recognized them. I wouldn't have said, them as well. There's 4 or 5 ones that are always in your face, you always hear about. They've got big online communities that are super supportive, that kind of thing. I just would never have even mentioned their name. So it's a lot to be owing for not having that same kind of exposure. And I think that's interesting as well, because £3 million for a business like that's a slow burn loss. That's not unless they were taking business trading profits and investing those into development deals or something like that, something quite risky. And that, it seems like there's probably quite a lot of muddied water there, because if you're talking about just training, which is what 2,000 to 50,000, you'd average it out between starter and golden circle, 1-to-1 mentorship, whatever bullshit these people are selling these days. That's your price range. You've got to do quite a lot of £50,000 to make 3 million, and you've got to do quite a lot of bad business administration to lose that 3 million.
Fair point.
So it will be really interesting to take a sneaky peek at those books when it's all said and done, once it's come out of administration or whatever. So
I'll just ignore it. What are the good kind of trainings that you guys have done in the past, or like not much trainings, but the kind of things that give you like an experience to take things to another level?
Well, I'd say the most recent thing that I've done is Amy Rowlandson's podcast Launchpad, and it was a Monday morning once a week for 8 weeks, and the way that she had structured that whole thing and pushed things along was actually really very good. I think it was a lot of value for the money. I think there's a lot that needs to be done to kind of implement that, but actually in terms of just skilling up, I got a lot out of that. I thought there was a lot of value embedded in that course.
And you got to spend An hour with me every Monday.
An additional hour with the great and powerful Helen Chorley. Yeah, of course.
No, I would
An
very
hour
much
on Monday, an hour on
echo what,
Sunday.
I would echo what you said there, Jay, though. It was very structured. It was very well set out, very well delivered. And actually, like you say, with many of those things, there's so much information. You know, that could be a 6-month course, let alone, you know, an 8-10 week course. So actually striking that balance of delivering the information and the practical know-how that you need without it being overwhelming, it is a huge skill, and Amy's really good at that. And of course, there are moments where you do. Well, I certainly did, like, get a little bit overwhelmed, and she's always there in the background, kind of supporting to help you, like, not get overwhelmed. So shout out to Amy, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I was completely overwhelmed on 2 of the weeks. But the follow-up, so she sends out a follow-up email with a ton of resources, videos, attachments, checklists, and things like that. And that is super powerful stuff. Yeah. Definitely shout out to Amy on that one. That one I really enjoyed. That.
Nice one. One of the things that I kind of notice is that there's a lot of trainings that get people in to like discover something completely new. And what happens afterwards is like someone drops whatever they were doing, and then they start doing this new thing, like and then after a while, like probably 90% or 95% of the people just drops doing that new thing that they started because they just find something else and then they jump from one thing to another. What I find really useful is like once you find this kind of like a field that you want to work in or stuff like that, and then like you do trainings to enhance whatever you're doing, whatever like you're already good at or whatever you actually already enjoy doing, because I think adding to skill set and staying in one field for quite a while is what produces the best results. It's not discovering that new thing. So what I notice right now a lot is those trainings that come up in trainings and workshops and other things that come up in using Chat GPT. Like that's the new trend.
Yeah.
As like if there was like cryptocurrency trend and all that.
Yes.
Now there's
and
like
FX, yeah.
And FX, and I think like ChatGPT is such a powerful tool. Like I've been using it a lot over the last month and a half, and I keep buying those $27 or £30 or whatever kind of PDF documents that were created to kind of like explain things, how to use ChatGPT effectively and give tips. And what I find really amazing is like how using that new thing in the field that we already doing like a lot of good things, like it just enhances everything so much.
Right.
It's like we're not dropping things that we're doing, but when we like struggle with something, we're like, okay, ChatGPT, let's see, and then we just ask a few questions.
It's efficient and time saving. It's like you say, it's stuff that you would be doing anyway that needs to be done, you know, writing, I don't know, pitches, you know, marketing, social, whatever. I've got to say I've not used it, but but that's, I don't know why that is. Why is that?
I think it's a brilliant structure. Like if you ask it a question to try and formulate your thoughts. So if you've got a really good point you want to make and you think I'm struggling to express this or to lay it out in a cogent manner, you can ask ChatGPT, and even if you don't like the response, you can just go around and go, can you present this to me in another way? And it will reformulate its response. So, and you may take a bit from the first question, a bit from the second question. So it still requires that input, that creativity, that imagination, that content. But it does enable a structure and a cogency that you could be spending, going back to something on your I put notes on my phone. I can be going back to something over 2 or 3 weeks, and by the time I've got it perfect, it's no longer relevant to post. That's now not the case. It's far easier to keep the content relevant because it's a really good aid to just keep your point focused and deliver it in a way that people can digest it easily. I think that's one of the most powerful things about it.
I'd like to know anybody watching. I think we've got some comments already. What's the most interesting thing that you'll admit to publicly that you've used Chat GPT for?
Okay, we've got
My
Jason.
mind's gone off on a whole different tangent there.
We've got Jason. Not gonna lie, I used it for my about me on LinkedIn, even just to get something I can tweak.
Great
Okay, now
idea.
Yeah.
Jason's gonna have 10 times increase in profile visits.
Yeah, let's all go
Everyone's
read
gonna
Jason's
check what the
profile.
result was.
It's like you say though, Jay, actually, even if you just take you get what you back, you get something back and it's not exactly what you want. Like Jason said there, that you've got a basis to kind of start you off. I can see that being useful for me because sometimes it's the getting started that I struggle with. So great idea.
Last week I used it for asking to research what was I going to we're selling this site with development potential in Buxton in Cheshire, and one of the person interested was asking me about what's the affordable housing kind of thresholds that exist in that borough. And I was like, I don't know, let's find out. I mean, you need to Google it and go through all the planning websites that are awful to navigate. It's so difficult to find information there readily. And basically I just typed it in ChatGPT and I said, can you find what's the affordable housing thresholds in High Peak Borough or High Peak Council? And basically it took about 15 seconds, and then it gave me all the information about what are the criteria, what are the Section 106 requirements and stuff like that. It was quite phenomenal to get all this information. And then the next question I ask is to verify and give me the sources of this information. And then it was phenomenal. It just saves so much time. We even asked it to write some legal documents.
Do you find it factually correct? Because actually, I saw a post maybe last week or the week before by Van Vogstad of Coho, one of the founders of the HMO Awards, and he'd Googled or he Chat GPT'd himself on it. And some of the stuff, it had come up with wrong. I mean, it was generally correct. I think he found it quite flattering. But he said, but some of the stuff was wrong. Like he'd started the company like in a difference. It wasn't spot on factually correct, but it was. I thought that was quite an interesting exercise because we've all Googled ourselves at some point, right? Just to see what's on there.
Maybe
we should Chat GPT ourselves and share what it says.
Wait, actually, is that a thing? Is that a thing, Helen?
Yeah, I think he said the first thing he put, like, tell me about Van Vogstad. I think the first response was, who is that? He's like, okay, once my ego recovered, he did it again. And then it said like founder of Coho. So he gave it more information. Then it could go off and find some
the reality with the platform is the better constructed your prompts are, the more information you provide it, the more accurate or more stable the responses are going to be. But you still need to check through it because it's still kind of, its brain is still set in the past, so it's not really the present and it's not really looking into the future. So it has limitations, which are good. It's good for it to have limitations.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We've got a few ideas of using it, and I actually got some IT engineers working on using ChatGPT to work on stuff that we've got and combine it so that when people, for example, want to ask questions about auctions, they can, ChatGPT can answer it, and it can make it consistent with the thing that we said in the book, for example, and other things, because it will cross-reference and check if it's cool. So it's it would be like a super phenomenal tool that we could like use for our things, and it is
That's
quite.
cool. If you know, yeah. So what you'd make it spiel out like what you want it to say.
Well, more or less, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it wouldn't say something, or like it would kind of reference or compare
Reference.
things. So
Yeah,
if something is super contradictory to what we're saying, it would say
yeah.
like this book says this and this source says this, and you'd
Right.
have a comparison, but you'd get answers or you get perspectives on things from like different sources, and mostly it would be consistent with how we answer things. So it would be like having Jay and Piotr on top, just like asking a question.
Wow, that would be super cool.
So yeah, and Matt says prompt engineering is a thing, and it's so true. Like it's just like the prompts that some people put into ChatGPT are phenomenal. For example, you can ask ChatGPT. I saw one example on Facebook. Someone asked, "Can you act as a mid-30s housewife in the US that's overweight, and then tell me about your problems and your issues?" And then basically ChatGPT say, "Oh, honey, I have so many problems." And then it like gave so like literally it was like a housewife from the US, and then the next prompt was something like, "Okay, can you focus on your health problems or weight problems?" And then it just like it's so phenomenal.
Wow.
And that's just like ways of thinking, but then some other prompts can be so complex. You can say to ChatGPT to include those things but exclude those things and take those points of view into context. It's phenomenal, mind blowing.
Wow.
And some of the prompts are just trash.
Yeah. Yeah. I was speaking with someone that I know, and one of the kind of thing about this chat GPT is you can take things to like whatever level you want, but you really need to know what you want to create.
Right.
That's the key thing that you're starting with. There's like no other limits. The only limit is what you want to create and how far you want to take things. And yeah, it's scary and fascinating at the same time.
So it's that clarity, like you were saying, Jay, that clarity of the input and asking the right question.
Which extrapolates out into real life rather than just dealing with an AI chatbot, right?
True. Yeah.
Piotr makes a point of this all the time because I'm a bit of a I'll lambast, I'll put big words in, I'll overcomplicate stuff, and he's just like, get to the point, like, what are we talking about? What are we trying to get here? And it's like, if you don't put the right prompt out there, you're never going to get the right response. For you, especially like Helen, if you're dealing with someone who's looking at presenting a deal to you, if they're not presenting the correct information, putting in the correct prompt, they're not going to get the right response from you, right? So it's in that respect, it's a brilliant tool to sharpen up how you present things yourself, questions, opportunities, whatever it may be, because you're dealing with an unbiased machine that's going to spit back a reflection of what you've asked. So if you get an inaccurate response or an unhelpful response, chances are your question is inaccurate or unhelpful or incorrect. Do you know what I mean? So it's a really good measure. If you get a really good response, Piotr, we were looking at something the other day, and he goes, "Okay, I asked it slightly differently. Check out this response," and both of our minds were blown at the response that came back from this. It was absolutely stunning. But it just showed like you can rephrase the question several times in that one chat, and it will come back and it will keep building it for you. And that is brilliant. But it's a skill that's to be learned. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about AI and replacing people and jobs and roles. I don't think that's the case. It will make people better at what they do because it's going to challenge them to be better. So yeah, I enjoy using it. The odd chance I use it, I enjoy using it.
I want to ask it a question, assuming it knows like anything about me. Mate, probably doesn't, but if it did, like, what does Helen Chorley want to see in a deal pitch? That would be amazing. And then I should just make that into a post. The amount of like inbox stuff I get of I've got this deal and it's like, oh my God, please, like, just give me these 5 things and then we can go from there.
Okay, let me just ask Helen.
Let's do it live.
It's gonna say, who is that? Isn't
What does
Helen who?
want?
If it says Helen who,
see
don't tell me. My
that?
ego can't take it today. Not enough coffee. Do you like my new mug?
Oh yeah, look at that.
Okay,
Reminds me of some property developers I know.
so Helen, while I can't provide specific information about Helen Chorley's personal references, I can offer some general insight into what property investors like her typically look for a deal pitch.
Oh.
In a deal pitch. Keep in mind that individual preferences might vary. Clear, concise presentation, property details, market analysis, financial projections, investment strategy, and still typing. I mean, and then it's like goes a little bit into detail of what it means. But actually, this is pretty good. If someone took this and applied, that would make an amazing pitch.
You'll have to copy and paste that pitch and send it that prompt and send it to Helen with the sender script to her.
Yes.
Exactly. And then I'll post it as a post and pretend it's mine.
Okay.
Or you can do a side by side. You can go, oh,
yeah.
this is what was really good.
That's what I do.
This is
That's
what it
not
missed.
me.
Yeah.
Plagiarism's not me. I don't know. I would credit the person. Yeah. Although, it's not a person, is it? It's a tool. Work with lots of tools.
And then you went out and got a bag to put them all in, did you?
And Ed is asking, is there a recommended site for using ChatGPT? What do you mean by site, Edwards? Do you mean the actual ChatGPT?
I think he means like the
or-
ones like you said you'd paid $27 or
I
whatever
see.
it is to help with the prompts.
It's
Actually, I'd like to know that too. Or
It's
maybe
an
you can send them
absolute
to me after.
it's an absolute wild west. So there's so
Right.
many of those companies,
Right.
and so many of those different things. So I purchased some from Promptsy, and that's pretty good. There's a couple of others, but I think the moment you start searching for those things on Facebook or LinkedIn or like YouTube, you will start getting more and more adverts. And those things are not that expensive. They cost like $30. And everything is fairly useful. And I always wonder like how many of those companies actually use ChatGPT to create this PDF and
Oh,
then
God.
solve the whole thing. And
Definitely.
it's like,
It's genius. Yeah.
yeah.
We'll all be inundated now. Our phones have been listening to us, and we'll just get ads for that, won't we?
yeah. So if we just start searching for prompts and for beginners, it's really good to do YouTube and just listen to a lot of videos on YouTube about using ChatGPT because it's a great resource and people share a lot of valuable information there. You just need to go through a lot of videos and kind of make your own notes too. And play with it. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I think that's something that we'll be sharing way more than about sort of what we're creating using ChatGPT. We also doing a little bit of a rebrand of Hammered, which is coming in about 2-3 weeks time. It's a fine tuning rather than a gigantic kind of leap, but it's things are going to be looking sleek.
That's interesting.
We're gonna be
Actually,
sharing.
talking about training, we didn't actually plan this, but it actually worked out rather serendipitously. Yeah. I'm going to be doing with Marina Conway Gordon, who is an amazing kind of social media content and strategy coach. We're going to be doing a little training in a few weeks' time that's related to pitching. So I'm really interested to see what ChatGPT says. I've talked a lot about like what I like to see in pitches. It's you watch any of the elevator shows and you'll see kind of what I'm interested in. But there's also a way about conveying that to an investor. And Marina's really good with helping storytelling. So a lot of people use her and get her help and her input when they have kind of things to deal with. So, for example, like I did a podcast and then actually an article with the content talking about my whole Lehman's experience and losing a lot of money there. Actually, technically, it wasn't me; it was my fiance, but our household lost a lot of money during that, and she really helped me convey that and what went on, because I was getting a lot of questions about it, but without a poor me, kind of like, victim mentality, just like this is what happened kind of step by step. And these are the lessons from it. So we're actually going to be running something. The date is to be confirmed, but it will be quite soon, about how to help with that storytelling. Because I've been doing a lot of stuff and helping a lot of clients recently with USP. I think we all know what to put in a pitch deck, know what we need to get across, but a lot of times people forget to put themselves into it, their story, their personal experience. So that's what I've been kind of posting and helping and working on a lot lately. So we're going to be doing that together. So if that is something that might interest you, drop me a note and I'll add you to the list and let you know when we've firmed up the date and the exact content around that.
It's really cool.
Nice one. I'm in. No, it's definitely gonna be a valuable kind of thing, because I know like how much you said about how you working with Marina got you to explore and kind of create your own way of posting and social media thing, right?
Yeah, I didn't have any social media presence till, kind of just before lockdown, I would say. And only when I started talking and presenting, like I knew I had something to add, but I didn't like social media. It just made me cringe. The thought about talking about myself or putting a picture of myself, which now I do nonstop. I've gone the other way too far, I know. But I had this kind of like discovery session with her. It was 2 or 3 hours, and I'm like, it's almost like, well, actually, I knew I had a lot to say, but part of me was also like, oh, well, I don't really have anything to say. And then it was like, where do we start? And actually, the clarity that she gave me, we did this whole Trello board about kind of these are the main themes you could think about, kind of tied into where you want to get to or what you want to achieve or what you're interested in talking about. She's like, you've got about 2 years worth of content here. That's from one session. She's amazing, and she's super lovely too.
Yeah, she is lovely. Yeah, I've met her a couple of times.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Cool. Well, if someone is possibly pre-interested, and
and it's not 20 grand either.
Oh, okay.
Is it 50? You went up a market.
Actually, the value probably is if you can build your whole brand or get, you pitch to an investor. This is the thing, like when people book in with me and they're like, oh, it's quite expensive. I'm like, it might be like an insignificant, a not insignificant amount of money. But if that session leads to you getting 100, 200, 500 grand of investment, was that a good return on investment? I'd argue yes.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. A lot of people see cost, they don't see value. The amount of times we go round in circles on this in anything really. But cost, yes, cost is important. but
Yeah.
you have to measure the cost against the projected value or expected value or value you can pull out of something. Yeah. Hold to your guns, Helen. Hold to your guns. Charge double. Let's see that will normally push more people to do it.
True.
Okay, brilliant. And Paul is asking, sorry, what's her name again? I think that's called
Marina
Marina.
Conway Gordon, hyphenated. But if you drop me a note, Paul, I'll let you know. Literally in about, we're just trying to fit it in with my diary because I'm traveling a lot over the next month.
Is this gonna be in person kind of meeting?
It'll be Zoom.
Online?
It'll be Zoom because I'm back to London on. I'm back to the UK on Thursday. I'm actually doing some training myself. I'm going to be doing actually some like wealth mindset training. And I'm going to be with Amy, Jay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We
also, a lot of love for Amy.
We are going on Joanna Martin's, one of her weekends. I just think it's really important. No matter, I'm writing a book on this stuff, and no matter how much you know about this stuff, there's always new insights. I think it helps to keep that stuff current and tweak, refine the way you approach things. So that's why I'm going on that. Then I'm going to Lisbon. Yay!
Yes.
So me and Scott are going to see Jordan Peterson.
I can't believe you said that out loud.
Sorry, Jay.
I can't
won't give you much FOMO.
It's not bad enough that I can't go. I had a ticket, goddammit.
Bless you.
Jay, we promise we're not gonna have too much fun.
Yeah.
We'll keep it down. We'll keep it down. on camera.
And then I'm back actually in London at the beginning of May for Construction Week. I am on a panel. Actually, I need to do some research and some proper work. They've sent me through some of the questions already. Oh my God, they're quite hardcore. So yeah, that's for my role as a judge for Women in Construction Awards. So Design and Build, the lovely Michaela Wayne, have invited me to be part of a panel there. So I think the tickets for Construction Week are free. So if anybody wants a ticket, drop me a note and I can send you the link for that. Obviously, it's a wide, broader kind of concept, construction rather than just property investment specifically. But if that's of interest, let me know too, and I can send you the link.
Amazing. Okay, brilliant. Well, let's wrap up for today. We've kept Jay long enough. And thanks everyone for tuning in. And it was great to be also streamed into Helen's personal LinkedIn.
I know, this is the first time.
First time,
first time I've managed to sort out the tech too. So I think we're live on Facebook, on my Facebook and LinkedIn. So this will be every week now at 9 o'clock
Sunday.
UK time.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah, 9 o'clock UK time. Yeah. So see you here.
Amazing. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. And if you're tuning in for the first time, especially welcome. And we'll see you guys hopefully next week.
Have a great week, everyone.